Yo guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is bluesy smooth jazz guitar. Before I show you what I'm going to talk about, then I give further explanations. And so on and so on. It's in fact, we want to talk about how to put in a bluesy vibe and a bluesy feel, dark blue feel, into smooth jazz. You know, when you play all these jazz and smooth jazz lines, you probably get, well, at least I get the idea, it doesn't have enough emotions. I want to have this blues, you know, you have stuff like that. Probably is cool to play, but somehow, you know, this bluesy and this emotional vibe is missing. So we want to put in some smooth jazz ideas, but we also want to make a combination with blues guitar to get this vibe into smooth jazz, which is very cool. And by the way, it's what a lot of my students and clients in fact want when they come into this room here for lessons. They come as blues guitar players who want to develop more, rock guitar players who want to develop more. And then I always say, take what you have and put some additional stuff. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Yo, first of all, we need a cool sound for that. And I've prepared a few sounds here which all work. This one is a quite distorted Mesa Boogie Mark II amplifier, like a crunchy sound with a spring reverb, as you can hear, and an analog delay to give this bluesy creamy touch. You know, to give this kind of a room vibe. Or here we have a Vibra King as another example. A Vibra King with the same effects. We have an analog delay and a spring reverb. Now, well, you can choose which one fits more. Let's check. That's the Vibra King Mesa Boogie. I love this one here, so let's take this one here, but of course you can select what you want. Good. This will be now for the first section, the section where you want to push for it. I would recommend Mesa Boogie Mark IV. Let's go to the section where it's pushing more and you want to kick off. Works. But we can also add a British amp, also works. Also works. I prefer Mesa Boogie here, but you can take whatever you want. Good, so now let's start to move on to the main topics. So then we're going to the close view. Okay, one of the main differences when you play smooth jazz or jazzy stuff in general is that you need to know the chords, because you always refer to the chords and don't, like in blues, just stick to your pentatonics and noodle over it. But we're going to do a combination out of both. This tune here is in it's basically a minor blues in the key of E flat minor. So we have three chords coming. We have E flat minor 7, then we have A flat minor 7, and on the end we have B flat 7 altered. And that's specifically what we want to check out, because there we're gonna smash in something really cool to make you sound as you know what you're doing, and in the rest you can play your licks which you always played. But so now first figure out what we can do over the first two chords. We're taking E flat minor 7. There, of course, we play the Aeolian scale. Which works great, but we want to make the combination with blues, and you know, naming the scale doesn't mean, or showing the scale 3 note per string doesn't mean you have to play the whole thing fast. That means you need to know the notes. And the most important note when you want to sound smoothie or smooth jazz is this note here, the F, which is the second note, so it's the 9. So if we want to play E flat minor 9 chord, we want to have exactly the F. And this will be our key note where we work around. So we have the F for the E flat minor. On the A flat minor, we have the A flat minor Dorian mode, which will be this one here. And here the key note is the B flat, because the same note again, this is now the 9 of the A flat. So we noodle around. F for the E flat minor and B flat for the A flat minor. And on the last chord we take here the D, which is, and there we're going to play Abras Cadabra Simsalabim, the altered scale, which is quite cool, which will be this one here. We take this root position here. Sounds really complicated. In fact, it is. But we don't need to make it too complicated. We focus here on the D as the keynote. And in between, we just play bluesy stuff which you already know. You know, the regular thing. And then you focus on the keynotes. I'm going to show you what I mean. Keynote of the A flat. And now we have the D. Now we have the B flat in the high position. The F in the high position. And now the D. And just by following these notes and playing regular blues licks in between already gives a great add to your soloing, meaning you know what you're doing and you really follow the chords, which is the main task when you want to start to get into smooth jazz or any type of jazz or into, let's say, advanced playing. There you need to follow the chords and you need to know what you're doing. And when I say, you know, here we play E flat minor, Aeolian, doesn't mean that you need to play the thing fast. It needs to know which are the notes and where are they, and which note is in relation to the root. The E flat, so the 9 here, or the 2, however you want to call it, is in relation. So you can take it here, or you can take it here, or wherever you find it. And then you can start noodling around that stuff, okay? Another idea which also works is we play a major 7 arpeggio over the chord. So we have the E flat minor 7, and here we're playing a G flat major 7 arpeggio. And over the A flat minor 7 chord we play a C flat major 7 arpeggio. And on the B flat altered, and we play a B flat augmented arpeggio. That will be this one here. Now let's see how that works in the context. Augmented. See, that works quite cool. And one tip, I mean, if you want to play these arpeggios, I mean, I just play them now like as an exercise that you see I'm going to play these notes. What I mostly do, if I play stuff like that, I use economic picking. So down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, up. Same here, down, 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 up, down, up, up. And here, down, up, up, up. You can also play augmented here. And you can play the same thing here. It's also augmented. Augmented is a symmetric chord, so you can. Well, that works. You could do something like if you want to go really wild, but don't take it too wild. Anyhow, the cool thing is now you make combinations between these two parts, playing the regular bluesy scales or licks you already know, and mix it up with these little figures, and that's already pretty cool and sounds quite. Let's go to the highlighted part of the tune. I'll show you also with high gain or with more distortion. Now going to the lead. You're gonna see how cool this sounds. See, it already works quite good. And honestly, what I always teach my students is let the music breathe. You know, one thing you can play, you know, you can learn long licks, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 bar licks, which work over this progression. Of course, you can do that, which is quite cool. You can shred them down. But what my opinion is, and my style, which I want to teach my students, is to just show them how to interact with the music, how you do that. Let's go quickly back here to this. And by the way, I produced this backing track. It's out of my homemade studio. I'm a professional composer. Try to interact with the instruments you hear. Let's see, what do we hear? We hear the strings and the higher frequencies. We hear the bongos. In the lower frequencies, we hear the beat which pushes. We hear a cowbell. which also pushes. So try to float with the music and not work against the music. I'll show you how this works. Listen to the music. And now, see, I stopped the note and made the room free that the rhythm section can pop in and give a counterpoint to what you played. And then you don't need to shred all the time, you just float with the music, and that's in fact the cool part. Let's quickly, I need to set a marker here, I think, to make my life easier. So let's, okay, let's go again. Now you hear the strings, counterpoint, altered, counterpoint, see, I always try to make a counterpoint with the music, and then when you push it more to the limit, then you start doing overlays. You know, you make overlays with the music which you're hearing, and then you can push even more. Let's do that quickly. Counterpoint. Counterpoint. Altered. Now we start doing overlays. Counterpoint. Now we push even more. Counterpoint. Yeah, I just wanted to show how you work. I was basically playing around with the notes I showed you, added my licks, and kept the space with the music, made the counterpoints and starting to do the overlays, and then push it, and then go away again, let it breathe, and then pop in again. Yo guys, that was Bluesy Smooth Jazz Guitar. I know for probably a few things went too fast, specifically at the ending. It's not about licks, you know. I want to try to teach a concept of living in the music, living in the tone, but at the same time fulfilling certain requirements for this specific genre in order that you can proceed, and then you start work on the floating in the music. And as I showed, work with those key notes, start to add the licks which you already can play, and start to make combinations, start to make bridges, start to let the music breathe, start to make counterpoints, start to make overlays and all that stuff. And then just let it go and don't go so much for licks. I mean, at least that's not my way, and that's what I always teach my students. So it's up to you. You can of course play licks if you want, but I don't think you know, when you play licks, let's put it that way, Of course, you can make really impressive runs. There are some guys out there who can make really impressive stuff, and then you can put it somewhere else. But isn't it not more musically interesting if you just try to connect with the music and find out what is the current thing which fits in this certain moment, in your certain mood, to this certain moment? And that's another perception how you can do music, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys here. However, I'm gonna write down a few things for you guys that you I'm gonna write down the scales, the scale, a few of the figures I showed, just that you have a certain idea how you can do that. And of course, you can also download this cool backing track which I produced for you guys. It's all available in the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. Please join there. Please become a premium member, and please share to the world that me and Dr. Pink are doing this service for the guitar community on this planet. And if you like what me and Dr. Pink are saying, see you guys.